This episode of Infiltrate Radio Podcast is brought to you by our amazing sponsors. Podbean is an easy and powerful way to start a podcast. Everything you need for a successful podcast. No difficult technology to learn. For our listeners only, go to podbean.com/infiltrate radio and get your first month of podcast hosting absolutely free. Again, that link is podbean.com/infiltrate radio. The show is also brought to you by Akioka Pet Boutique. Use the link posted on our Facebook page with the link to the show and use code InfiltrateRadio25 at checkout, and you save 25% on any purchase from Akioka Pet Boutique. All your pet supplies, toys, etc. So again, go to the link on our Facebook page, click on it, and use code InfiltrateRadio25 at checkout and save 25% on absolutely any purchase. In addition, we'll post the links to any products we talk about during the show, such as the drinks we're enjoying or any other items we mentioned. So if you really want to help us out and support the show and keep us going, click on any of those links we post, and the show gets a portion of the purchases that you make. So you get drinks, you get products, you help to keep the show going, and we get to not be living out on the street. So again, just click on any of the links in on any of our posts that typically go to Amazon or other affiliates. So thank you guys for all your support, and here's another episode.
Infiltrate Radio.
So you guys are listening to Infiltrate Radio. We're now on episode number 53, and I've stopped trying to attempt to say numbers in Spanish, Biz.
Oh, for so long ago we stopped.
So I'm Patrick Joanne.
And I'm Biz LaChance.
And on the show today, we've got Connor Mink. I'll do that just because it's tougher to say your entire last name, and I'm in the same boat. My last name is just 90% vowels. So.
Yep. When there's a C and a Z next to each other, you have to say like C is in cat, Z is in zipper whenever you tell anyone. So I just remove all that.
So say it. Say what's your last name?
So my last name is Minkowitz. I say Minkowitz. So basically, it's in Poland. I guess it would be pronounced Minkiewicz or Minkowicz.
Gotcha.
And that is not for American ears easy to say or learn. So Minkowitz, there you go.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Thank you for having me. It's been a long day that I did not expect to have, but I mean, we're here now.
Yeah. We heard you were on set all day, kind of fooling around with the film things here and there.
Right. It makes me look a lot more legit. So I'll take it.
Excellent.
It's nice to stay relevant too. You know, that's the kind of the big thing.
I mean, I'm always about making jokes. So normally people think about me when they're like, oh, that's funny.
So as per usual, we talk about the drinks at the beginning of the show, and anyone listening, watching, whatever, if you click on any of the links in our social media posts that link to Amazon, you purchase those things that we talk about. We get a little bit of pocket change, and I don't have to use my old dirty clothes as pillows at night. So Connor
does that because he wants to.
Smells good.
What are you drinking over there? What do you got?
In a non-sponsored sponsored segment, I am drinking a McDonald's Coca-Cola fresh from the fountain.
Oh my.
Light ice, because we don't play around in this shit. Because we're getting all of our value of that $1.
Yeah, what?
I mean, a fountain drink is 98% carbonated water anyway.
100%. It's 100%, 98%. You're correct.
Is the reason why you do the light ice is so you get more soda per drink?
Yeah, I'm a value man. I'm all about finding a deal, but not really working that hard for it.
Right.
That's why you go to McDonald's.
It's about saying light ice rather than just the drink, because you know in your mind that they could fill that entire thing with ice and you're getting nothing. And it's just like, why even spend the $1?
Do you question whether or not they know what light ice means?
So I think everyone has a different definition.
Yeah. So if I were you, I'd say no ice, and then give me a cup of ice on the side, so that I could perform my own. You see what I'm saying, Biz?
See,
achievement unlocked, man. Fucking achievement unlocked. That is some hacker shit.
The only problem I have with that is the minimum wage isn't at $15 yet, and I feel bad for making them put through that much effort.
Extra step.
As a matter of fact,
the only part.
For fast food restaurants, though, like McDonald's, it is. They get paid $15 an hour.
That's the thing. I didn't know that fact initially going into this conversation, so I'm glad you told me that. But other than that, I mean, it's like 15, 12. Like you can give me one cup. I'll say light ice because I'll give you the option to be a nice person and not fill the entire cup.
So you'll trust the judgment of the soda. The soda jerk, is that what they call them?
They should be called that. I think they have been.
Yeah, they have in the past. They were.
The role's been expanded into fast food employee. I believe.
So grill, maybe a little French fry duty.
Either drive through or not, maybe. Who knows?
Right. Do they have those now? Do they still have like soda like
drive-thrus? What are you talking about?
No, not drive-thru. I'm talking about.
I went through one to get this.
Like a soda fountain.
I went through two
place.
drive-thrus.
You know what I'm saying? Like the old-fashioned soda.
Yeah, they
places.
have those.
Do they?
Oh, you mean an actual like
a new hipster
establishment?
Yeah, you know how they're like reviving all the old stuff into
It'd be like a candy store.
Yeah, something like that. Candy store. You get different soda flavors. It's all like $12 for a soda.
I've seen candy stores. I think you're right on that. But the sodas, they should have premium soda for sure.
Right.
Yeah, it's from like the glacier water, the carbonated glacier water.
I'm copywriting it. Pat's Soda Jerks Incorporated.
That's all you got to do.
What are you drinking, Patrick?
Well, I'm double fisting it. So I went to Starbucks and I got an iced tea, like an unsweetened iced tea. But I'm also doing some of this Polar raspberry lime.
Man, we're kicking ass with the name brands today, guys.
There's so much carbonation in this podcast right now.
Yep, lots of gas. Lots of gas, Connor.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah, what do you got, Biz? I was going to get something a little different. I just didn't have time today.
Can I get this in focus if I'm smart enough? Bam, there we go. Ginger beer, which I normally hate, but this Summit sparkling ginger beer. I don't know why they feel the need to say non-alcoholic on it. I don't think I've ever had an alcoholic ginger beer, but nevertheless, super carbonated, and it is the spiciest soda I've ever had in my life.
Is it like straight ginger?
I think it is. It's from Aldi, I think the person that gave it to me said, but it clears your sinuses real good, and it tastes like soda. It's not bad.
Does it burn as it goes down? Like you get that throat?
Oh yeah. It even induces a little bit of a cough, like every 3 or 4 sips. Like it's rough.
I wouldn't call spicy an adjective I'd use to describe good soda.
Right.
Personally.
Well, you need to open up your soda palate, obviously.
I need to open up my palate to more than chicken fingers is what I need to do.
More than just watered down Coke.
More Coke and chicken fingers is like a good 70% of my diet.
Well,
yeah, I was listening to your podcast and I heard that your last meal would consist of chicken fingers and for sure a watered down Coke. So
yep, you got it. I'm living the dream.
Now you're not doing the diet Coke. You're going straight classic Coke.
Look at me.
What
do I got to worry about right now?
All right, fair enough.
I'll go on a diet when I need to.
All right,
I'll take the calories.
I mean, is the chicken fingers? Are you particular in your chicken finger?
They need to be quality tenders with maybe
all white meat.
I mean, I'm not. It could be any kind of meat that you know, in this day and age, you got to include every meat that you can.
But you can get.
Right. Yeah.
But no, for me, it's as long as it doesn't have tendons in it and I bite down and it's like chewy. If it's chewy, I'm out. Like it needs to crisp, like a crisp chicken finger.
Like a firm you bite, yeah.
Chicken fingers from pizza places, don't know where they get them. They're perfect. Every pizza place has perfect chicken fingers. 100%.
I think that most of them buy it like pre-frozen or whatever, and then you just fry those bad boys up. You're good.
Well, I tried to, and then I was performing the methods the way I thought they were performed, and I was getting tendies with tendons. You know what I mean? No one wants that.
Well, where were you getting them from? Were you just getting them from the regular old supermarket, or you went to a restaurant like supply store?
So I went to, there's this place called Pelicanos. Shout out Pelicanos. I mean, they're good for the most part. They're like a
wait, pin for 1 second. We have listeners all over the place. So shout out to Buffalo, New York. That's where Connor Mink is from. So most everything we're talking about here is going to be in the Western New York region, right between Niagara Falls and Canada.
You got it.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Is that where you are? You're in Buffalo?
Yeah, so technically my area code is 14120, which is North Tonawanda. So it's a subsection. It's shout out NT. It's fine. I'm here. It's okay. I don't hear gunshots. We're good.
Right.
But you know, there's other parts of NT where that might not be true. So whatever.
So,
but
so you went to is that like a restaurant supply store? Like
yeah. So they are basically like, if you think of like what a home-owned like grocery store would look like, they're a little bit pricier. They got a little more like nice stuff. It's like a home. They're Italians, they love food.
Yeah.
They, from that they make this grocery store. They got a meat section. It's basically like a tiny like grocery store.
Huh.
And they have these big bags of frozen stuff, and they have the chicken fingers that look like the chicken fingers from the pizza places. But some of them, as I have come to find out, I don't know if I'm not cooking them wrong or what, but they don't hit the spot.
I was going to tell you, part of the problem is probably that you don't have, I don't know, like 3 weeks worth of nonstop frying in them.
Yeah,
you might want to try that. I found that using an air fryer, but cleaning it almost never, it really increases the flavors.
They stick in there.
So having owned a restaurant, there are supply stores that you could go to. There used to be here in Rochester a place called Maine's, and Maine's is like a food distributor, and they had a supermarket, so you could
crazy.
go
It wasn't
and
in
buy.
Maine.
Yeah, I don't know if they're based out of Maine's. I don't know why.
Is it even spelled the same? How dare you? How dare you assume it's state of origin?
There's like 6 ways to spell Maine.
You could buy stuff there that all the restaurants, pretty much get those same things and take them home and cook them. But yeah, you got to deep fry those bad boys. And
there is a spot in Henrietta, New York that called Restaurant Depot. It's kind of
shout out Henrietta
in the cut. Yeah, it's like in the cut. You got to like kind of know where it is to get there, like that spot Jack Sparrow goes. But it's they have great deals on like some of the best, I'll call them chicken fritters, because they're not quite fingers, and they're like spiced and like breaded, and they're like next level. But shout out to them, they're great.
I will 100% check that out.
So and not to get too deep into the food thing, because it seems like maybe we're all just hungry or something. I don't know.
I was gonna say I'll talk about chicken fingers all day if you guys want to.
So let me ask you this, because you're a fellow podcaster, right? So let's get that out of the way, or in people's ears first. What's the name of the podcast, and where can people find it?
So thank you, by the way, for having me. I apologize because this is later than we had scheduled, so my fault. So
the listeners don't know that. Stop.
I know. No, I'm giving them the correct first impression. If they want to follow this man, he's late sometimes, but it's whatever. So I have a podcast called Getting Groovy. It's about me and another person, normally an art person that likes art. And because look at me in my room. It's pretty much, yeah. So we sit down and talk, and I usually bring up bullshit, and they're like, "That's stupid," and I'm like, "Yeah, right." And then that's pretty much a podcast.
All right.
His is a little more organized than ours. He has a couple segments. In fact, I actually told Patrick when I told him that we were going to have you about 2 of your segments that I love. That I hope that you continue on through all of them, because they're hilarious. It gets me a laugh literally every single time.
It's nonstop.
Yeah, and I definitely want to get into like the content of what you got, what you do over there, and what you're doing. You're obviously filming something today too. But before we move off of the chicken finger conversation, I want to know, all right, because this is a highly contested and highly debated topic. But first of all, do you dip them in a sauce? And then secondly, if you do dip them in a sauce, what sauce are we going with here?
All right. So I think Biz may know the answer to this question, because if he has watched the episode, he knows what I like. And basically, okay, so there's 2 camps. You can be in 2 different camps in life.
Mm-hmm.
You can either have hot sauce on your wings or on your chicken fingers and then put ranch on them.
So
like
coated.
A heathen.
So coated. The actual finger is coated with the sauce.
Correct.
Okay.
So you put them in. So I'll give you a little tricks, little Mink Blot tip. Right. You put it in a Tupper with a P, sure. Tupperware container, and you put some hot sauce in there, just all over. Just
what kind
fucking,
are we talking Frank's Red Hot, or are we talking?
You got it.
Right.
It's Frank's Red. For me personally, it's Frank's Red Hot. You can use whatever you want, but some people use siracha. That's fine. It's to each his own.
Great. Sriracha and blue cheese. I love the blend.
Sriracha kicks my ass, so I put Frank's Red Hot on it.
All right.
And you just douse them get them all gooey and nice.
Yeah.
And then with the crispness of the tenders, it just makes a perfect medium that you're just like, this is the greatest thing I've ever had. And then so you can either put ranch on them and like a awful person,
like an animal,
or you can put blue cheese, chunky blue cheese that is full of just, you know, crumblies and goodness. You know, the really bad milk, the worst milk. Put that, dip it in that, and then shove it in your mouth, and then tell me you didn't just do something in your pants.
Right. So
whatever, you fill in the blank.
So you don't necessarily just dip. You're doing a coating and then a dip.
I mean, it's a 1-2 combo. If I need to, I'll do double dip, or I will do you know.
Now hold up. I feel like this gives Western New Yorkers this like bouginess and makes us seem like we're so. Oh my God! Let me ask you: if someone gave you some chicken fingers and they were like, "My bad, I got no sauce right now," are you turning the fingers down or are you eating them dry?
No, I will ask, can you bring me a glass of water and more chicken fingers?
Fantastic. That's great to hear. That's exactly what I like to hear.
Now they're coated. I mean, these are fingers. These
ice water.
These aren't wings. So, I mean, wings, you're going to get a little messy. The fingers, do you do like a fork?
Oh, I'm a fork, man. A fork is the only way. Maybe a spork in a dire situation, but those don't cut as well.
Do you cut? So you use the fork to actually cut the tender.
So as a man, I have one tool to insert the chicken fingers from the plate to my mouth, and it consists of the fork, hopefully it's a metal fork. You you use the side, you do a little twiggle, you cut it off.
I didn't know how to use a knife until I was like 16 or 17. Everything.
You don't need to
cut a steak. I used to just stick a fork into a steak, and then just eat it like an apple off the end of the.
Yeah, I used to just like Mink saying, I used to literally just wiggle the side of the fork. Literally through anything. You could get it through butter, waffles, steak. Yeah,
absolutely.
All right.
If you want it more enough, if you want it enough, you will get it done.
Absolutely. What about you, Biz? What do you put on your, if you were to get chicken fingers?
Honestly, I'm kind of like I like honey mustard, so like I usually just get the wings. All right. I'm one of those weird people that's like, sauce is a great addition to it, but like you get the fingers from the right spot. They know how to season them. Like the sauce just kind of sits there and gets sweaty while you're devouring these phenomenal fingers that you're like, oh shit, I forgot sauce even exists because it's so good. Like there's a spot in also Henrietta, New York, called Just Chicken that recently opened up. They're a Peruvian blend of like seasons. Dude, I swear to God, these are some of the best chicken.
So Biz, can I ask you a question?
They're like chicken crumbles though. They're not even fingers or fritters. They're like different shaped pieces of chicken. Like
is it just chicken?
It is. Like, it literally is just
like they have chicken and they have water. Like they don't have any drinks. It's just chicken. Like it's straight up just like the restaurant employees are chicken.
Well, don't be silly. They obviously have chicken soda, but besides the chicken soda,
that's funny. That was a good one.
No, but yeah, no, they have sodas and stuff, but they do like chicken sandwiches, chicken fritters, like all different sorts of types of chicken, but only chicken. No beef, no pork, no.
I respect it. I do.
This is where I would go now.
Game recognizes game.
I grew up in New York, like closer to New York City and Queens, and so there's always these,
New York.
There's bodegas on every corner, right? So there's you get the best sandwiches are there. So I didn't do a lot of chicken fingers when I was living there, but
it's a Western New York thing.
Yeah, what they do is they do the chicken finger sandwich, right?
Now that is legit.
A nice piece of like New York bread from one of the bakeries there. Do a little bit of mayo, maybe some pickles, some lettuce on there, nothing fucking else. You slap a couple of hot chicken fingers on there. Oh,
what is it about the Northeast and their love of stiff loaf, man? Like I just need some soft bread. I don't need a fucking jaw-breaking loaf of bread for my sandwiches.
Wegmans subs, the chicken finger subs from Wegmans might possibly be the greatest. Like every single time you will have a magical experience with a chicken finger sub that is buffalo with blue cheese.
So you do the same style chicken fingers you would do just straight like neat, but you do them on a sandwich the same way with blue
submarine cheese. Sandwich.
Don't get it twisted, Patrick.
I gotcha.
It's a sub roll. It's a different roll than a sandwich.
Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Yeah, I do like. There is a bunch of bakeries up here that do those like soft rolls. You know,
Oh, shout out
those gum
Costanza.
rolls
Shout out Costanza rolls.
in Buffalo.
Yeah, no
Where
one
Buffalo
knows.
is.
No one knows the secret. They're buttery. They're delicious.
Nice.
You could just eat them. Oh,
They're taking that secret to the grave.
they're so good. I mean, I'm taking it to the internet at this point.
I'm gonna have to check out the Wegmans, the Buffalo thing, because I do like a little spice.
Mm-hmm.
We've had on the show. I had the guy from Pepper Nuts on, and we did a hot sauce tasting. This was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
We should have him on again. Do you like hot sauce, Biz?
Yeah, man.
Maybe I know he wanted to come on the show again, but he brought some ghost pepper extract once.
That's not my style.
Yeah, man.
I want to enjoy my hot sauce.
Yeah. Well, once we could do it all in person, Biz, maybe we'll get together. And he's got some
once we're back to
stuff that isn't crazy hot, like it just tastes good. So
we're gonna hear a word from our sponsors, and when we come back, we're gonna talk to Connor about anything but food, since that's literally not what we brought him to talk about.
But I just started thinking about chicken fingers, and it sounded delicious. All right,
and we're back from our break.
Yeah, let's talk about your show. So
that sounds fun.
It's primarily, do you do it out of your house there? And I see a piano behind you. Are you a musician?
Literally, this whole room is what I do. I sit there. I sit right there.
All right.
I do the podcast with someone that sits over here in the chair that I am in right now.
All right.
And then, we just upload it and hope people think I'm funny.
Are there musical guests that play the piano back there, or what?
Yes. So I have recently ventured into the world of making music with probably, I think it was August of 2018. I bought a little MIDI keyboard that is sitting in front of me right now. It's 2 octaves, so it's just I could keep it on my thing. It's so that basically turned into me trying to make beats and trying to be a decent musician for like a year and a half, almost 2 years now.
So you know how to play piano, I would assume, if you've got that?
I have played the piano. I would not say that I know how to play the piano. I have music videos coming out where I indeed have a piano in them, and I have played it, but I do not subscribe to the fact that I know how to play piano.
Okay. All right. So on the show, what happens? So I'm guessing you're the host, right?
Pretty much what has happened thus far in this podcast is more or less what happens in this show.
So
we latch onto something, and then sometimes it'll tangent, sometimes it'll be dumber than what it should be. You get groovy. It's the show started as in the groove because it's like getting in the groove of the conversation and like not.
Somebody
realizing,
already has that as a name I've heard you say,
right.
like.
So I didn't look that up until I released the first episode, and I'm like, maybe we shouldn't step on other people's territory. And then you just rebrand, and it's kind of the same, but it's not. But,
and I love how most of your guests like to throw it in your face. Like, what weren't you going to call this something else, Connor? What was it you were going to call it? Say it.
Absolutely.
Say it out loud. Like
making fun of me is a vital element of the show that I like to keep going.
How many episodes do you have out? Was this a recent startup, the podcast, or you've been doing it for a while?
So I hadn't recorded any episodes on January 1st of 2021, and I had a camera and I had an audio recorder that had like one plug in it. So I had to record the first podcast through my cell phone, and then one of the mics sounded much worse. So the first one's kind of a trial run, and then that pretty much turned into me buying this recorder. And then,
did you say 2021? So you started this year? Holy man!
Yes, I literally. I'm on episode 7 to answer 7 to answer your question. Yeah. Huh. 8 is this Friday.
All right, excellent. So who do you primarily? You said you have artists. Do you mean like artists as in painters, that sort of thing, or just friends of yours that or acquaintances?
Mostly entertainers, it would seem. You had like a Twitch streamer on there. It sounded like
so my first guest is my like partner in crime for like movies and video and scripts and everything. So we talk all the time about writing and getting the movie route. So me and him are part of Ultrabird Visuals, which is like our joint thing where it's like, I mean, I don't really want to just call this my thing because it's not fully me and it's not fully him. So we kind of,
like a production company sort of.
Yep. And we're trying to get music videos out this year. And basically I produce some music that I'm actually not super like ashamed of. Sure. So I'm pretty much using that, and then hopefully getting other artists, which I would have on the podcast, to do their music videos and then get more in the industry. And I have had an acoustic artist once, and he performed a song live. So that's going to come out later on. I think that's like episode 11 or something, but I've recorded up to 15 right now.
Oh, nice.
All right, and I'm guessing on my camera. I don't know why this does this. I got to figure that out too. I know that the DSLRs only allow you like to do 30-minute 30-minute videos or whatever. So maybe
it's something that Connor brings up on a lot of his episodes. Actually, he's like, we have to cut to a break because we've been recording more than 30 minutes now.
Yeah.
But I'm using the web utility, so it really shouldn't do that. I don't know why it does that. Whatever. But so all
computers
the major,
rarely make sense.
All the major platforms, Apple Podcasts, all that kind of thing.
Yep, literally anywhere you would be able to find the Joe Rogan Experience, you can find Getting Groovy. So except for I'm also on YouTube, so that's a little bit more, you know. Yeah. I'm kind of all over.
Pandora podcast as well.
I'm actually on Napster podcast. I'm on LimeWire. If you want to go on LimeWire, try to download some episodes. I upload them. Those are on Saturdays. But...
Some Kaza. Who remembers Kaza?
I don't remember Kaza.
I remember that. Bear. Do you
Kaza was literally
Share?
like
Bear?
AIDS for
Bear
you.
Share.
Oh my god, I did forget about Bear Share.
Yeah, that was a long
Holy
time
shit.
Shout out Mega Upload, RIP.
Right. FTP virus to your computer.com.
Shout out
to anyone born in the 1980s. Anyway,
I have a story. You guys want to hear a story about E-Bombs World?
It's the shit. Go ahead. Yes.
All right. So E-Bombs World was actually based out of Rochester. Did you know that? Rochester, New York.
I did not.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So they had a house in, is it Victor, I think? So I worked as an IT person for a company called Blue Tower Technical, and they were upgrading their entire house to Cat 6 cabling throughout their whole house, right?
That's the shit.
Faster internet. And this was like just as Cat 6 was kind of coming out to be a standard for, for wiring the house. So I was the guy that would like run stuff through walls and all that kind of thing. And then, we'd hook it up to network switches and all that. So they're all working, doing their E-Bombs World thing, uploading videos or resharing videos or whatever they did. Mm-hmm. And, so I'm installing something. I think we're running cable from the top floor to the basement, right? And then to a switch that's in the basement because they were finishing this basement. I don't think they're there anymore. They might have moved. And I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about that fact that I was there, but I didn't sign anything.
Oh, well,
so, whatever. So I'm in the basement, and I'm in between like the finished wall and then the cinder block, kind of like, when you get a basement finished, there's space in between the drywall and the. So I'm in
for
between,
rats.
Yep, for rat purposes, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to fish this wire, down to the basement through a hole that had been drilled in there, and I'm like super tight. I mean, there's maybe like 6 inches of space, so I'm squeezed in there, and I go and I reach up for this cable, and all of a sudden my elbow hits some sort of a pipe. And the pipe just starts shooting water like full
it's shit water,
blast.
It better be shit water.
It wasn't shit water. Luckily,
there's poopy in the water.
No, it was just like the tap water. Luckily, it was cold too and not boiling hot, but just shooting all over me in between this thing while my boss is upstairs. I'm like, this fucking thing is leaking.
Yeah.
Water's just shooting out. Newly finished basement they have there, just all over me. Luckily, we got the water off in time before it actually did any damage. But yeah, it was in the E-Bombs World headquarters and
that's wild.
Took down the entire
infrastructure.
Yeah,
the fucking business.
I mean that could cause a bit of a short if there's that much water.
Yeah.
So I could imagine, yeah.
So, but I didn't even know that they existed before I was there working at their place, that they were this.
What year was that?
Giant thing. Oh, man.
I don't want to make you,
probably
date yourself.
like 16 years ago.
Okay.
He literally does it every episode.
Yeah,
shout out to people born in the 1970s.
I make it a point to say that I'm 40 in every episode, and
hell yeah.
And now Biz is even bringing it up without me having to like even say it.
There's three things Patrick brings up every episode, and literally that was the last one.
Yeah.
He brings up he lived in Queens. Brings up he owned a restaurant.
I already mentioned the Queens.
Absolutely.
All three. He's already.
You gotta let people know who you are.
Yeah,
That's
I snuck it in like it was like I'm becoming like a ninja with it.
I did
Patrick thinks
halfway
we don't
ask.
have reoccurring listeners, so he needs to give everyone a rundown every single just in case this is the only one you're catching. You need to know me in and out.
See, I'm sure my audience is just coming for the guest. So I'm just going to facilitate something decent. And I know I'm annoying. Just get past me and then you should be good.
I'll be a vessel for your entertainment.
Absolutely.
So you're also doing video on YouTube. How's the YouTube thing going? Have you?
Yeah. So that is pretty much, so in addition to the podcast, because I don't already have enough things going on, I said that I would every once in a while do a Monday, Tuesday, like if I have a song to put out, there's a video probably then, or, because if the podcast is on Fridays and there's a whole week of just nothing and I would go crazy if I'm just doing the podcast. So I have to bounce around.
So you're definitely a creative, and I think that's the same for Biz and I too. That I'm the same way. If I don't have something going on at every second of every day, I lose my mind. So
I would say somewhat unfortunately, because this is a very annoying life to live. Like I can't just get a job and like it. I have to enjoy every aspect of it to feel comfortable. Like this is bullshit. I want a different body and I'm good.
Yeah, it's a bit of a blessing and a curse to be.
I mean, yeah. You know what I mean? I'm appreciative of everything that I do have and, continue
Are those your paintings behind you too?
Yes, I did paint these because I am, sometimes interested in that. And then I tried it and I'm like, these are sort of decent.
And I'll tell you this too, as being a musician myself too, was like you said, you're not totally embarrassed by it. Right, that feeling, no matter who it is, every musician I've ever talked to.
If you make it a joke, you will never be embarrassed of it because it is funny inherently for you trying.
Well, you always, I think, as a creative or as someone that makes things, you almost always hate what you do a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Because it's almost like when you hear your voice for the first time on a recording, it sounds weird to you. So no matter what art, you're not looking at it from someone else's eyes. You're looking at it from your own super judgmental of yourself eyes. It's I
mean, it is with the creatives. It is a problem that I feel like most of us have, where you inherently won't put out work that you have done because you don't think it's good. But I have said this on another podcast, so if people are watching this from whatever, but I would say that anytime you put your 100% effort into something in a day for your creative work, that itself is valuable, even if you don't think it is 2 months from now. Yeah. So if 2 months from now you're not proud of it and you don't want to put it out, just put it out the day of, the week of, just do it, because that's basically just telling people where you're at, and people want to follow the journey. They don't want people want a great piece of art, and if you end up there, that's awesome. But for the most part, people just want to see a guy grow and be better and do something.
And I think there's a quote Andy Warhol said. He's just don't worry about the critics. He was talking about art critics and stuff. Don't worry about the critics. Just make art. It's not your job to critique whether or not your art is good or bad. Just continue making art.
My mom works at Nike, so shout out Nike. Just do it.
All right. We can use the sponsorship too.
You get what I mean?
I was gonna say there was a previous episode or a previous guest we had, Will Nemi's episode, where we talk about same sort of thing as far as that. So go back and listen to that episode.
Yeah, and I find
so don't even bother because we covered it.
I find it sometimes it's difficult to even a lot of famous actors and musicians and stuff, they won't listen or watch their own stuff. We were talking about Joe Rogan. I think he once said that he never listens to any of his own podcasts.
Yeah,
I don't blame him.
That's what I was saying. He releases stuff and then he just will straight not sign into Facebook for 2 weeks while it blows up or not, and then he goes in and he's like, oh man, people like this.
The biggest thing I would say is he has a lot of Zen Buddhist samurai codes that he has he has something tattooed on him that's a samurai from a book that's written by some dude, I don't know, a long time ago. But he's very discipline is literally the way you get anything done in life. So creatively working out, doing anything, you need to work at it like a warrior, give your 100%. And then just whatever happens. And then living your life by that is very freeing. And that's kind of, I'm not going to say I'm all the way there, but I've been trying to get into that space
Well,
more.
I think it comes from the discipline of just continuing to do it. Like I think that a lot of times people that are outside of the creative space or outside of the I don't know, even though we talk a lot to entrepreneurs and stuff too, but just continually doing it, like the slow, like a wave crashing on a beach, slowly taking sand away. Eventually, it's going to erode the entire, the entire beach, or it keeps hitting a wall or whatever. It'll eventually do it. Like if you just keep pushing at what you're doing and just keep showing up and keep doing it, eventually you're going to get one better at it. If you care at all about what you're doing.
Right. I was going to say, you can also think about, in that same analogy, you can think about your career as the wave, and like a wave hitting a beach. You see one wave every day, like a couple of seconds, whatever. Right. Where did that wave come from? Like it came from the other side of the earth. Like it took how long to get to that point right there? And like, how many waves do you see every day? Do you remember every wave that hits the, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about being like getting it big in like 1 or 2 weeks. Right. Like it's about the whole thing. Like I think you got to do the whole thing.
I also think that people have, when they start like becoming a musician or a artist or doing something like a podcast or whatever too, there, not so much as the podcast. I don't think there's this, I'm going to make it big attitude just because it's such a kind of newer, newer media.
We're infiltrating radio everywhere.
Oh, right. But like,
shout out Infiltrate Radio.
With musicians, and like people acting and stuff, there's this idea of the moment that you make it, and I've seen people that I know, I guess, strive for that, but I don't think that exists. I think the idea of it, like the
that's 4D shit.
Yeah, it's like the idea.
Well, not only does it.
Wait, just let me finish. So the idea is there to strive for, but I think the actual success comes from the continual pushing and the work as you grow, and it's a gradual thing. So that's when people say, like my overnight success was not an overnight success. It's years and years and years of doing, doing something, and eventually all that consistency and all that, all that compounded work ends up meaning something.
All those compound sentences.
Occasionally you get the person that just becomes a superstar just from walking down the street or whatever, and that sort of thing. But for the most part, most successful people, that's not how it works. So I think
we can't all be Nickelback.
I think
100%.
I think there's a
once in a lifetime,
a sadness, or not a sadness, but like you're making creatives think that there's going to be this time where you finally make it and everyone recognizes that you're good, but that I don't think that ever comes. You need to enjoy the art that you're making, and you need to enjoy what you're doing now and be passionate about now, because when you get there, there's always the next thing. Like there's never a this is what it means to make, quote unquote, make it,
well, and like making it too, like what are you gonna do? Just sit around? Like, are you just done being active?
That's what I was gonna say a minute ago too, is that most people don't even know what to do with success once they get it. That's probably why they're not getting it in most cases. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's why they sabotage themselves. Because it's another hill to climb. Because you fall down and then you climb another hill. That's basically all. It's subconscious sabotaging of your life so that you can go back to the beginning and try to climb the hill again.
And be an expert at something at level 1 again.
Right. Well, and that's why he gets into like archery and all that stuff, like Joe Rogan, if we're on him. But I was going to say, if we're talking about this, we cannot not bring up Sisyphus and that whole tale of just pushing the rock up and then the rock falls down and then you got to go get the rock and then push it back up. That's literally art, and it sucks, but it's fun sometimes. So why not?
Well, I think a lot of people, like Patrick was saying, they want the destination, but they don't want the journey to get there.
Well, it's not real. It's not. Right. It's the destination. It's a mirage in the.
Not only that, I've noticed that a lot of people that get noticed and recognized in public, they're some of the most sad, depressed people.
Yeah.
In their real lives, that being recognized is not even cheering them up anymore because they're so fucking down on themselves now and so mopey that like that those fans do nothing for them anymore. It was, you know what I mean? They sacrificed their lives to get these followings, and then no amount of followers fills that hole in your heart that you blew off your mom's dying, time so that you could pay attention to that post or go to that concert or
there's a
be in
sweet
that
spot.
movie.
Right? There's like famous enough.
There's a balance, man.
I want to get recognized like twice a week, and then I'll be like, I'm good.
You want like a little Dicky.
Not even. No, he's too much.
He's big now, actually.
You know, like Rhett and Link? Have you ever heard of Rhett and Link on YouTube?
No.
Exactly. I want to be them because they have millions of followers and you have no idea who they are.
So
yeah,
I think
that's exactly what I want.
I think too, like having that as where your journey is going, I think can build resentment too. So you become
100%.
like resentful and like, oh, why am I not being noticed and this and that. I think you can become much, like you can find a lot of joy in life, or in your art by loving the making of it so much that it doesn't matter. Whether or not someone's paying attention at the end. And I think what you're talking about, Biz, is like people end up, going the road of selling their souls literally to get to a point where they have
the
millions
Illuminati.
of dollars and they're famous, and they realize that they had to sell their souls kind of to get there. And it
Shout
wasn't
out Tenacious D.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're all looking to just be big rock stars. Shout out Illuminati.
100%. Shout out Illuminati. Shout out Big Tech.
Yeah.
Shout out
Biggie
Nickelback,
Smalls,
just because we've
Biggie
quoted
Smalls,
them twice now.
Nickelback.
Shout out Biggie
Rock
Smalls because we're in
Stars.
New York. Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
Beyond
but I
the
think,
shout out section.
yeah, but I think
That's a segment of my podcast.
that what I like around a lot of the people that we've had on the show too is that they just love the work behind it, like doing it. Like you're not getting paid, millions of dollars. You're not doing it necessarily for the money. You're doing
a little bit.
right. Well, a little bit. I mean, you like to live off of it.
He's doing it for it. He's just not getting any of it.
Exactly.
I think you probably enjoy it because you wouldn't be doing the amount or putting in the amount of effort into your podcast and your. How long were you on set today?
I was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. was the technical call time, and I'm not gonna just brag about this because it does make me look better, but I did not get paid. I did it just to do it because it's fun and I enjoy it. So I will. That does contribute to the conversation.
Yeah, I think so.
But other than that, with the podcast, I would say it is really fun, and it gives me an excuse to like actually message someone and talk to them, and especially if I haven't in a while, like those are fun. So.
Well, I think that level of passion, definitely, that's what I was going to say, is that not most jobs you're not willing to work for free. Most jobs you're not willing to be like, let me get a little bit more experience in something I'm well versed in to get maybe to look better, to stay relevant. Most people aren't like that.
My jobs that technically give me money are, I just got a job at Revolver Records, which is a record store, shout out, because they are opening a new location on the Transit Road if you're in the Buffalo area. Nice. But that's Friday. But other than that, I have Instacart, which I have not even started yet. And those are the two things that technically give me money unless someone offers me video work. But, that's about it.
I feel that pain. Patrick still has a consistent
I think
punch in for the man sort of deal. But
I just sort of backed out of that. That was a risky decision, but I felt like I needed to.
It always is. It always
you have to I don't know. Like you got to diversify what you're doing. I don't think I would be happy just pursuing one particular thing either.
I was gonna say in your case, it keeps you actually like tuned into people that have nothing to do and that don't even really care about the artistic blend of what you do in your passion time. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people I would say that are engineers, they enjoy music, but they don't care to hear about your fucking prima donna stage bullshit. You know what I mean? Like I've noticed that a lot of times when talking to people about film and movies and stuff like that, sometimes you get people that are like movie buffs. They know a lot about past movies, and it's like, yeah, man, I make them. I haven't watched any, so this conversation is lost on me. Right. But I think that in your case, it helps kind of diversify you. It helps keep you a little bit more humble, because when you're an actor hanging around actors and filmmakers, they don't worship you, but you know what I mean? They make you feel a certain sort of way when you get around some people that don't
it's an opportunity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh shit.
Biz is just did it too.
I think that.
Did you lose your camera altogether?
I don't know. We'll see. We're not going to lose audio, but bear with me.
I will say thank you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for being on the show.
I just in general, you've complimented me. I don't know if I've said thank you. Just thank you in general for being on the show.
I appreciate that. No, thank you for being on. So I think part of it too is like business mentioning like the day job thing that I do, and I do other stuff too. I mean, I've driven Uber. I've done I've washed dishes in the past. I've done like so many jobs, and I think again the reason I've been able to find, because I work with people sometimes that have become resentful or
that's what I don't want.
They don't like where they're at. And you can hate any job you're doing. You can be a movie star and hate being a movie star.
That is true. That is true.
You can sit at a desk job or be in a call center or whatever and hate doing that. But I've found, and I don't know why this is the case, but I found that I've been able to find in the mundane little things, even if it's washing dishes, like joy somehow in that. Like I remember washing dishes for a place a long time ago, and I used to specifically pick a shift where I didn't have anyone else. Like I was working kind of the night shift, so I was by myself, and I'd put on like NPR or some radio show, and I'd be washing dishes and like enjoying washing dishes of all things.
Yeah.
And I that's what that's the point I'm kind of trying to make, is that I don't think the joy comes from the work. I don't think like if you're unhappy if you can't find joy in your everyday things that you do, right? And it's you're only going to be happy if this specific thing happens, it will be very unlikely that you'll find a lot of joy in your life.
Absolutely.
Because I think that it's such a corny thing to say, but I think it comes from internally how you react to situations and the environment you're in, more so than what the environment is at all. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think, and along with that, I think a big thing with human beings just in general is just freedom as a concept of like, I can do what I feel like today. Like I can wake up, I can go do the things I want to do. I can go do that. If you have a 9-to-5 that is keeping you from doing those things, that 9-to-5 is more or less where the resentment comes from. So it's like, I think along with that, I think you are correct in the fact that you should be able to find like washing dishes or mopping the floors, or I actually sort of have a music video coming out about that. So stay tuned. Yeah, it's, but I would say alluding to that, if you have something like music, or you have something like, something that can get you out of the idea that this is wasting your life, that is really what, gets you to a good place. But I mean, it's also a psychological thing where you can actually put yourself in like, I enjoy doing this. That's just harder.
I'm not saying that like, okay, if you have a really, like a job that just it sucks, like you go in and you're like, God, I hate this, it's such a waste of my time and whatever, that's not a normal thing to think, because it's definitely a normal thing. But I think that
I'd say a majority of people go through that. Yeah,
I think it's a common thing to think, but not necessarily a normal thing.
You can find, I think though, like what you're saying here, right? So you're going to do some Instacart. You can find things to do for money that allow you to have your freedom to do also the things that are passion for you. I definitely think, especially now, it's more possible than ever with smartphones and all this stuff that's going on with like Uber.
Oh, we're so lucky, dude. As creatives, are you kidding me? If we were creatives in like the late 1800s, we're pieces of shit. We're assholes.
Yep.
There's other stuff to do.
You'd have to drink absinthe and cut off your ear and shit.
We're dead at 25. Yeah. No way around it. No way.
But I think that I don't think it's a destination. It's the journey.
You're right. Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah, like I was saying, it's kind of like I brought this up before. The Alchemist by, I don't know his name, Paulo Coelho or something. Like
Books.
He talks about this dude that like has this envision that he wants to fulfill, and then he kind of realizes like it's better to spin in the circle right here, because I don't know what I'm going to do with the end game once I get there. Like I think I'm better right here.
There's that Tyson Fury, Tyson Fury.
I know
is
who
a
that is.
boxer.
He doesn't write books.
Yeah, so maybe he has. Maybe he has now.
Shout out to
That's a good
libraries.
point.
So
That I will say
boxer.
that guy I don't think has written a book. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The
So
personality does not come across as
yeah,
that.
he's a
Go ahead.
boxer, but part of like I watched an interview or some documentary on him or something on YouTube, and he said that his whole dream was to become like the champion. You know what I mean? The champion boxer. And what happened was
That's common.
yeah, so he worked at it and worked at it and worked at it, whatever, and eventually became the champion of I forget what it was, probably heavyweight boxing.
He's a big guy.
Got it, got this championship, and when it happened, when he actually won, he remembered. He was talking about how he felt. He remembered not feeling what he thought he would feel.
Yep.
Like it was almost like, now what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Was more the feeling than oh my God, I'm elated that I've reached this. And you see it with a lot of with a lot of people who reach that level, like Michael Jackson with
Jim
Thriller.
Carrey.
Yeah,
Jim
you get
Carrey.
to a certain point and you're like, okay, what am I chasing? Am I doing this for the love of what I'm doing, or am I chasing this end thing that when it comes, what do I have left? It's something to think about, because
I want to bring up the Truman Show because it's fantastic. The Truman Show is literally about this whole idea of like freedom and what is a person, what is a human being. Like we're getting very philosophical, and I do enjoy this because we do that.
Yeah.
But that's like basically Jim Carrey's life is the Truman Show, because he got exactly what he wanted at a very young age, and then now he's just like, all right,
He's
where
like
do I go
peaked.
from here?
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do with his life now.
Yeah.
I agree that happens to a lot of celebrities, and a lot of entertainers. I've noticed they get out of the entertainment business.
I'd be sick of it
after like 10 to 15
Honestly.
years, really tops. Like
Yeah.
people back out and they start to do other things with their lives. They become philanthropists and they become investors or activists in most cases.
Which is an easy side gig, I would say. I'm not going to say that it's not hard work, but just being the guy that's like, here's some money, or being the guy that's like, we should save them. Like,
The
okay,
investors.
good, nice contribution, dudes. I'm just saying, like, you don't go back to like woodworking, like some people do, but like the philanthropists are like, those are the easy, like, I have millions of dollars, here you go.
Right. So there is an exception to that. So I know you probably, if you've watched Joe Rogan stuff, he's had David Goggins on.
You're right. Yeah.
So David Goggins was one of those guys that like said, "All right, I've done
Get up, pussy."
this thing." Yeah. So he'll do that sort of thing. But he like fights fires now in friggin' wherever.
Oh yeah,
like,
he's the shit.
Like, but he doesn't talk about. I mean, he does his Instagram or whatever to keep himself relevant. I guess if he writes another book or whatever.
Eddie Van Halen, I think, didn't he do that? Didn't he, or someone like David Lee Roth or whatever, like went back and just was like a volunteer firefighter just for like New York.
Yeah, and I think that
Steve Buscemi, shout out Steve Buscemi, he's the man.
Yeah, what does Steve Buscemi do? Is he a firefighter?
I'm just saying he is, I believe.
And my understanding is he was a firefighter, became the actor that he is, and still kind of like responds to the call when it comes.
Now that's
not like for his local station, but
Steve
like
Buscemi
when he's hanging out
Batman.
and doing his thing.
So you imagine you have your apartment somehow.
Imagine him as Joker.
Unfortunately catches fire, and your cat is stuck in your apartment. Five stories up. And the fire department shows up, woo, woo, woo.
And it turns into an Adam Sandler movie just like that.
Steve Buscemi gets out of the fire truck and says, "Don't worry, young man. Don't worry, Connor. I'll save your cat." And then Steve Buscemi climbs and rescues your cat.
Yeah.
Your 5th story apartment.
You want to know what I would do?
Yes, what would you do?
So there are other firefighters around, right? And they're like also looking up?
Yep. I mean, they're assisting, obviously, too.
Okay, so say there's like lights and everything, it's all crazy. He like throws it down. Like, have you ever seen what was it?
He throws the cat?
Yeah, no. Have you seen what is the movie? No, Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds.
Mr. Deeds, where he goes up and then tosses the cats out one by one, and they each like land into people's like carts and stuff.
Yeah.
So in the cake.
So he tosses the cat down like directly to me. Like he's like, "Connor, look out!" And then he tosses it. And
he knows
does
your
his
name by that point.
Right. He's like, "Connor, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do the podcast." And he's like, "Yeah, I should come on sometime." And then so
Shout
he
out Steve
tosses
Buscemi.
he tosses the cat out. It's directly to me. I'm like ready, like kick return. I'm like,
Right.
oh shit, I gotta catch it. I catch the cat.
Fluffy.
The firefighter, Fluffy.
Yeah.
The firefighter's right next to me, and I lean over and I whisper, "This is the greatest day of my life." And then that's what happens.
I love how he asked about the firefighter for the most anticlimactic slam dunk.
Absolutely. And then Steve Buscemi comes down, and then we record the podcast in the ashes of my apartment.
Do you have a beer? What kind of beer do you have with Steve Buscemi?
A beer?
Do you have a beer, or do you have tea? Does he have tea?
I think I would take him for some like Mai Tais on the beach. I want to get to know him.
I feel like he'd be like a robust coffee sort of guy.
Huh.
Oh, dude, I drink a coffee with Steve Buscemi. We go nuts.
Like a bubble tea on the
like
beach?
a Choco Nuts, sort of like. I'm
I
talking
can't
a
do
real
bubble
robust
tea.
Colombian.
Oh, those are maybe an Irish coffee, you know?
Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
I never had one of those, but I'll try.
that's amazing. So there's Steven Seagal also is a police officer, right?
But we're not going to bring him up because he's not a real person.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, he's clearly a subhuman.
A CGI.
I think out of all the reptilian people that could exist, he's probably the least likely, but also most likely option. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Shout out Steven Seagal, even if you're a reptilian. That's cool.
Yeah.
He's a glimmer man.
Are you allowed to talk about the project you were doing today that you were on?
Yeah, I mean, I know next to nothing about it, to be honest, but it was really cool. It was in Lasertron, so this is a laser tag, like basically battleground. There's 2 levels. There's a bunch of neon lights. We had a lot of equipment there that costed a lot of money that I don't think I have made in my life. But that was basically, I just went around taking behind the scenes pictures and doing production assistant stuff, like holding doors open. I'm really good at that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's just like there's 2 guys. One of them, they both have guns. There's a fight scene. There's a lady and a nondescript male that is most likely a male because they're tall. Sure. But who knows?
Huh. And they were laser tag. My daughter really wants to, once everything kind of goes back to normal, wants to do laser tag out of anything. She's like,
that's the shit.
When we could finally go. Was it open for business or was it?
No. Yeah, they were closed down for at least the day. I believe some people tried to get it, and it was like, no, we're shooting a music video or movie thing. There was dialogue, so I think it was a short film. Huh. But
all right. Well, so what else do you got going on that we can kind of throw out there to the public for people to check out, like your music stuff?
Right.
Is that YouTube as well?
Yes. So the same account that you would find the Getting Groovy on is called Minkblat. You can also go to minkblat.com. That's technically where everything is too. But I have my most recent song is called The Getaway, and I did a little movie edit for that, cut some clips together from a movie called The Hidden from the 80s. It looks cool. I haven't seen it, but
Can I give you a suggestion too for your YouTube channel?
Yes, absolutely.
I think you should show people how to make the perfect chicken finger.
This is a hard right turn, but I'm here for it.
Plate. You know what I'm saying? So
You're right.
You go in, you show them which Tupperware works best.
Oh yeah.
How to dress it.
Cooking with blots.
No, honestly, I really did want to do a cooking show. So I think that at some point, it might be a Patreon thing. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Because I think that is a viable option once people actually know who I am. But
all right,
at this point,
we're gonna fund Connor's OnlyFans here. It's just gonna be him cooking chicken fingers.
Cooking chicken fingers with no pants on.
We've planned on. Well, I don't know if I even told Biz about this, but we started doing some on-site podcasts where we'd go to local businesses, and especially after all this, I definitely want to showcase more local businesses. So maybe we can pick a particular spot in between us, or maybe we could go out to Buffalo. And we'll find a chicken finger place that you can go and show people how to appropriately do it. Because I wanted to. I spoke when we spoke with last week, Matt, who does a lot of audio restoration and stuff. I went to visit Bop Shop Records, and they have all these old. I wish I had it here, but I've got one of those little tubes that he was showing last week, the Edison tube. Which is like a record on it looks like almost like a toilet paper roll.
Hell yeah.
But I went in there, and the guy that owns it, I forget his name now, was like, "Oh yeah, we used to do classes on all this old stuff. So I was thinking we could go in there, Biz, and do a little, a little like tutorial of all the old media and all that.
Yeah, man. I think we got to do like one on location episode before things got bad again. So
Yeah, we did.
it was pretty cool, honestly, to
cidery.
plug all the equipment in there, shut the place down, and just kind of like hang out and be like, no, we're busy. Don't come back.
Yep. Plus, we can do some we'll do some filming of it and stuff, make it more of a, an
Now that we started it, we didn't even used to film the episodes. I think when we did that one.
Yeah, there was no video of that one. So,
yeah.
But yeah, we should do something. We'll get together. We'll do.
I'm down.
Collab.
I have a car, so that helps.
All right, excellent. Plus, I do like Buffalo's wings out of any of the.
Weird. Some would say we're the best.
Yeah,
I would, but
I would be one of those people.
Let's throw.
I've been
down,
to like 4 places, so I don't think I'm a good.
Who's your next? What episode are you going to drop? Who's your guest? Do you have that already set?
Yes. So I am currently editing it, but it is more or less done. I just have to, put the finishing touches. And that's Alukman Muhammad is his name. He is a filmmaker and music video producer. Excellent. He, just wants to kind of get into the same lane as me as far as like making movies and directing and cinematography. So I was like,
no, we didn't even touch on any of that. That's how I know you, and we didn't even scratch that.
Yeah, right.
But
chicken fingers are a majority of this conversation, and I'm not mad at it.
Surprise. I'm not surprised at all about that.
Well, we'll definitely have you on again. We'll bring you on and we'll talk some more of that stuff and where your podcast is at and all that sort of stuff. And I would like to maybe do a chicken fingers episode. I think that would be delicious. Biz.
Not a bad idea.
I might have a chicken fingers show by then, but we'll see.
All chicken fingers all the time.
Just chicken.
All right. Oh.
That's what it's going to be called.
Just fingers?
Just chicken fingies.
So
with Connor Mink.
One more time, Connor. Where can people find the podcast throughout your YouTube? You
can find it at minkblot.com is where everything is. But if you want to go to YouTube, search Minkblot. That is where music is. I have short films, a bunch of them, like Biz was mentioning. He wasn't in them yet, but I have, plans to use him in the future.
Didn't even feel forced. I feel so flattered right now.
No, you're great. That's the thing is like, I want to give people props when they deserve props. And that's like the only way that people like you. So there you go. But other than that, Getting Groovy is the name of the podcast. And that's on that Minkblot channel / Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all that shit.
Awesome. And just in case, just for clarification, that's Minkblot, MINKBLOT, correct?
Right.
No S?
Yeah, Inkblot. Have you ever heard of like a Rorschach test?
Yep.
It's like that, but put an M in front of it, and it's about me.
Excellent. All right, well,
that's it.
Connor, awesome having you on, man. We'll have to have you on again, and we'll do.
Was this whole podcast about chicken fingers? Holy shit!
It was 90% chicken finger.
I think
10%.
This is this is fantastic
podcast.
But also this is the curveball that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Well, he was like, plot twist, you guys are actually the guest for episode 10 of my podcast, and this is my podcast.
Right.
I was gonna say this is exactly how it would go, but we stayed on topic a lot more than I thought we would.
Yeah.
Other than that,
and I was gonna get into news. I don't know if we want to do a quick news,
yeah, let's do it.
Segment,
I could do this for another hour.
Okay, so
there's a news graphic that'll come in.
Yeah, let's just
do the graphic.
Let's cut to the news. Let's cut to the news. And we're back.
All right.
So in music news, Daft Punk broke up, apparently. Have you seen the video?
I didn't see the video. I heard about it and I cried on the way home listening to One More Time.
Did you?
I saw some people on my Instagram were posting about Daft Punk, but they were people I don't care about, so I didn't read any of the captions whatsoever, and I had no idea this happened.
Do you think
I saw it. I thought they died. I was so upset, and then I was like, "Oh, they kind of did die, but not for real." And I'm like,
on the physical.
Do you think it's one of those like Motley Crue when they retired? They did like 6 more tours after they retired. You know what I mean? It's just a publicity stunt.
In this day and age, it's kind of hard to tell. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's
my take is that Pharrell broke them up. I think Pharrell and Get Lucky just like ruined everything. And I think that was the least lucky thing that could happen to them.
Speaking of Pharrell, shout out Illuminati.
Shout out Illuminati. Shout out Chrissy Teigen. Shout out.
Yeah. How did you
Shout out-
ask someone to do a Chrissy Teigen impression?
Yeah. I don't know.
You had someone
I don't
do
know
a-
what she sounds like.
Yeah, how would you do that, Biz?
I
He
don't
was
know.
like, the person literally just made a high pitched voice. Was like, I'm married to John Legend.
It's fantastic.
I don't even, she was on a cooking show, but I don't even know that she had like a catchphrase on the show that you could.
Nope.
Did she become famous just from being married to John Legend, or did she do something
Well,
for that?
She's,
I
I
think
guess,
she
funny
was-
on Twitter. I guess.
I think she was mildly famous. John Legend obviously was far more famous than her, and then I think
She like an
because
actress.
of their dynamic, she kind of like excelled or like stayed relevant in like TV shows and stuff like that.
Huh.
And then she was in some sort of like baking or cooking show where she was one of the hosts or one of the judges, and people saw like how funny she really was. And then from then on, like 2014 or 15, she's literally been in like Twitter's like prestigious VIP club of like, you know.
Huh.
She's in all those like Masked Singer shows, I think.
Yeah.
Who
I
gives
think-
a
I
fuck
think so.
about that? You know what I mean?
Those shows are great for kids. And if you're less than 12 years old, shout out
don't-
Masked Singer.
If you're less than 12 years old, just watch SpongeBob and you'll turn out like me.
Yeah, don't encourage people to do that show.
What?
Krabs.
So-
SpongeBob is literally the bar. If you want the bar for cartoons, that is what you have to
SpongeBob?
meet or exceed. Oh, 100%.
Honestly, yeah, that's
Seasons
a,
1 through 3, you can't beat it. Zero
I was gonna
TV
say,
show.
that is a
can beat it.
big
You
like
kid-
thing
you
for
kids these days. Ren and Stimpy, man. Ren
and Stimpy
that's
is
so
great.
old school.
100%.
I love. So let me blow your mind.
Yeah.
So Ren and Stimpy is fantastic. I believe certain writers from Ren and Stimpy had moved on to SpongeBob, and basically
That's true.
SpongeBob bridges the gap between these shitty new cartoons that they're making for like little babies
Yeah.
and actual like Ren and Stimpy writing and like solid dialogue and like good jokes. Dude, this show literally has like influenced the way that I talk to people, and I think I'm funny, but I don't know. You be the
Dude,
judge.
with
of
that being said, the craziest, like
I'm just saying. I can
from
make a
here to
case.
there,
I
the
hear ya.
craziest from here to there
Gotcha.
situation has to be Suzanne Collins, I believe. She
This
created
is-
Oswald, the blue octopus,
Oh, fuck.
and she's the creator of the Hunger Games.
I did
How do
not
you go
know
from
that.
Nick Jr. to dystopian murder children?
I think it goes back to what we were talking about. Is you get bored and you're
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm gonna get into just
I mean,
young
I'm
adults
getting
killing
drunk
each
and
other.
everything's going down.
Jordan
yeah.
Jordan Peele went from, you know what I mean, being
Yeah.
a comedy
I know.
show,
Yeah.
basically doing like an imitation of like Dave Chappelle's show, and then
Yeah, here's some skits.
but what was
win an
interesting about it,
Oscar.
you could kind of see where he was going with it.
They're great
'Cause a lot
skits,
of those skits were so dark. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
yeah.
Like just like this you could tell that there was some sort of a thing he was going, and then just immediately into like
They're
horror.
funny as long as your mom's not watching them with you,
Right.
sort of humor.
Right? Like the episode where he plays
hey,
the little
Aaron.
where he plays the little kid in the hospital bed, like the evil.
Oh yeah, dude. The best is when he's the. It's
Great.
like. Oh no, wait. It was like Lawrence Fishburne as a baby. He's like goo goo gaga. Or no, it's Forrest Whitaker. It was Forrest Whitaker as a baby.
Yeah,
He's
Forrest
like,
Whitaker.
Goo
I
goo
was like, I
gaga.
don't think
I
that's
want milk.
right.
Dude, it's great. I love that show so much.
All right, so in other news, Mars rover. What do you guys think about the
Yeah, they
Perseverance?
touched another one down, right?
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Sick. Go humans.
Have you not seen it?
I haven't seen
You
anything
ever-
about it, even though I am fascinated.
Yeah,
I saw
it's
a TikTok of the guy who was like landing it, and he was so overjoyed to like land that bitch. It was
it's pretty tough to do that,
inspiring.
man.
that's what I'm saying.
Really?
It was inspiring, honestly. He was so like proud of himself. It was such a cool thing to see. And I'm not normally one for like feel good stories. Like
Have
when the
you
radio
seen-
comes on and
Oh,
they're
yeah, you're good.
like,
I'm sorry.
here's
I'm sorry.
here's people calling in and telling us great things about their life. I literally flip the channel so fast. I hate it so much.
I'm just saying, when I think about that, I think about, have you seen that video of the guy from the stands of the baseball game taking that paper airplane and he throws it and it hits the field and then everyone cheers? That's what happened, but it was way cooler.
Yeah, a little
Like,
bit, a little
way-
bit
like,
tougher.
Way more impressive.
I saw some of the pictures too. So apparently we've got now 3 robots on Mars. So
fuck with us.
Yeah, we're
Well,
like
I think one of them recently shut down, and then they literally like did some old
revived it.
not even, it was one of those things where it was like jiggle your satellite around to get the dust off, and it did, and it like supplied like a certain amount of months worth
The
more
TV
pictures.
antenna.
But
Hold
I
your
think
arm
that
over
rover,
here.
Yeah,
I
you
think
hit-
that rover
hit the
has shut
side
down
of
and
it.
doesn't work anymore. But
Hit the side of it, turn it off, and then on again.
Just
Right.
blow into the microphone
Right,
and
blow-
it'll work.
tier one tech support.
Clear out the cartridge, blow into the cartridge of the thing.
You got it. I had an N64. I'm a 90s kid, sort of. I'm a 90s baby.
You could work at NASA.
Speaking of kind of like crazy, spacecraft or flying things, did you see the plane too? The United Airlines plane that
I have never seen a plane. No,
got set on fire and like dropped pieces off of it midair. It was
Really?
going from where the heck was it going? It was going.
damn.
did
I
see
actually,
that.
this is gonna sound terrible. I'm gonna sound really weird, but on Reddit, I saw some pictures about this.
I think
Yeah,
I was going to
I
say,
don't
I
trust
appreciate it.
Infiltrate Radio.